Hello and welcome back to Loud and Proud Orlando, a special Thursday night edition transfer mania saga. I don't know what we should call this episode, Luis, but it's transfer chaos
Yeah,
special
it was pretty
episode.
crazy. My
We just
hand
felt
hurt.
like there's so much going on that we had to go and do a pod tonight with all the chaos of the Duncan saga and of course David Brekalo as well. And we're also going to get into some rumors that have been floating around about different players. How are you, Louise? How was your day? How has your last 48 hours been? I mean, I know
No,
mine's
it's
been.
it's it's been pretty insane. It's great to see the whole community just embrace this transfer window. I do want to give a lot of kudos to a lot of the outlets. I also want to give a lot of kudos to the front office. I'm sure there were probably also, back and forth, pacing back and forth. I do also Blackburn fans too. Sheffield Wednesday fans. That was a pretty great to see. And I'm just super happy for Duncan. I think it's what he wanted. I think he can definitely thrive. We'll talk about that and more. And I'm just excited to talk about all these new stuff that's happening within the club.
Yeah, it's been a crazy sort of whirlwind, like 48 hours of transfer saga, I feel like you're totally right. Massive shout out to the likes of Tom Bogert, who's just been
Yeah,
out there killing it and reporting on everything. And, we've even had the great Fabrizio Romano getting involved in some of our news. So, and, shout out to the guys like Orlando City Fan TV. I know
yeah,
we've been doing a
Fan
lot of
TV. Yeah,
reporting,
great guys.
Mike and everybody over at Orlando's Lions Den who've been all over stuff. So everybody is like watching like a hawk and trying to keep everybody else updated on all the craziness because Luis, we're really invested. But imagine if you're just like an average Orlando City fan and the last like 48 hours you're just like trying to follow along casually. You'd be like, what is happening? I don't understand this
Yeah,
chaos. So if you haven't been following along, we've kind of got the Cliff Notes version here for you today on the pod. So we're going to start, Luis, with the Duncan story. I don't know what we should call this. I feel like it needs to have some kind of epic title, like it's a movie now. It's the Duncan Lancashire story, right? It needs to be its own documentary. I feel like,
Days of our Duncan.
yeah, let's get the Drive to Survive people in here and see if they can make a Duncan Goes to Lancashire documentary for us. Because I feel like that was what was going on. It's absolute chaos. Here's a picture of Duncan in in the hotel in Sheffield, a, a city and club that now has nothing to do with where he ended up. So that just gives you an idea of this crazy story. So let's look at there is a tweet by Orlando City UK, and I want to say a massive shout out to
Oh
Taylor.
yeah,
He's an awesome dude. He basically did a breakdown of like this transfer window and everything that's been going on with Duncan and just the saga. And of course, like there was interest at the beginning of the window. We all know about that. Yeah, but really looking at the last sort of 24 to 48 hours. Remember Michelin? We talked about them on Monday, Luis. That just disappeared. So they were out of the race. It was all Blackburn. And then it looked like, we were seeing reports of 2.3 million, reports of what was it, 2.9 million or something.
yeah. 3.1. Like it kept changing.
It
It
did.
ended up.
Different reports from Tom, different reports from Europe. And then kind of finally, we saw this deal from Tom that was 4 million plus 2.5 million in add-ons. That seemed to be, the deal. I think originally those offers, Luis, I thought were a bit low. And so this to me was like, okay, this makes sense. We would sell him for that. Then we're hearing, Duncan's on the plane, whatever. The next thing we hear, which is an even crazier piece of news, on yesterday evening at 6 o'clock, is that Blackburn are trying to hijack our David Brekalo loan move, which has nothing to do with the Duncan situation, except from the fact that Blackburn, of course, the club that we're supposedly selling Duncan to. Then leading on from that, Duncan's on the plane on the way, as everybody knows, to England, and it gets canceled. So, with modern technology, he's obviously able to talk to everybody by Wi-Fi. He's talking to Luis and trying to figure out, what are we going to do? Talking to his agent, I'm sure at this point, I'm sure they offered him another contract, or Tom Bogut at least reported that we would have offered him another contract to see if Duncan wanted to stay. Clearly, Duncan was not interested in staying. So, Luis then continued to work on moves for him, going back to Sheffield Wednesday. And there's obviously the picture of Duncan outside Sheffield, taken by some paparazzi in England, reported by Chris Wheatley over there in the UK. And then finally, the strangest turn of events of them all, Sheffield Wednesday, no, but Blackburn are back in. So complete 180 from them, going from we don't have the money to now actually we do want to take him and we do have the money. The deal then shifted into a loan deal, which is the one that we finally saw go through. Tom Bogut reported that the loan deal was $700K, and that we would eventually, if they wanted to purchase him, would be 7 million plus 2.5 million in add-ons. I've had some discussions with other fans on Twitter. They, English fans, Blackburn fans, that seem to think there might be some debate around that. That's not an official number. The club didn't release that as an official number. That's just what Tom Bogut has reported. If that is the case, I think that's a really good deal if we do end up selling Duncan for that amount. So that was a whole lot of information, Luis, to throw at everybody, but I just wanted to get everybody up to date on what had happened. Now I want to go to you on the actual deal that was announced and the loan, and your opinion on where we finally landed with all of this Duncan drama.
Well, I think honestly, Duncan made a decision that needs to be respected. I tweeted that when I heard that this fell through, and then it was rumored for him to maybe negotiate with Sheffield Wednesday, I was just like, look, Sheffield Wednesday is like probably going to relegation. And I felt strongly that this was a disservice in a way to Duncan. You know what I mean? I think he deserved to be in a club that he could actually fight for at least not be relegated, right? And make an impact. And so, even though, and OC Fan TV, I think, mentioned this on one of their tweets I read, the Rovers have gone through some ups and downs when it comes to ownership. They have some owners that are a little weird, to say the least, when it comes to where they're getting that money from. And it made sense after I read that tweet why they pulled the deal out so fast as he was coming and flying to England. So in the end, I think he did what was best for him. I'm just really happy that this Blackburn deal came back and he was able to sign with them. I think we got a pretty good deal. I think it's a loan option, purchase option around $7 million plus another 2.5 million in add-ons. I think that this is a great deal for us because if he scores 12 goals in championship, or 13 goals, let's say, his stock's going to rise up, and he might end up in a bigger team or maybe in the Premier League, and we're going to benefit for that also. So I think it's great. I mean, after only 1 year in the MLS after Crichton, I think he's done amazing things, and I'm just super happy for him and super happy for Blackburn fans, because Blackburn now has a striker that it's definitely hungry to prove something. He's ready to make an impact, and we saw some of the videos. I'm going to play a video right here on how he was kind of teased this morning. Right, and then here's his presentation.
It definitely means a lot. It's definitely been a wild roller coaster these past 72 hours, but, we got there in the end, and I'm definitely happy to be sitting here right now. I imagine they're going to be amazing fans, and I'm excited to meet them.
All smiles from Big Dunk there.
There you go. So, I mean, you're talking about them making a big welcome. He's definitely gonna set a big impact for the Rovers. I think he's gonna definitely make an impact. And I mean, you're talking about a team that have been English champions 3 times. They have won 6 FA Cups, one Football League Cup, and one full Members Cup. I mean, this is a team that has a lot of history, a lot of pedigree in English football, and I'm just happy that he was actually able to make that move at least. Because I said, look, if you're going to Sheffield Wednesday to fight for relegation, might as well stay at Orlando and play one more year, and try to make to the Copa America squad. Get a little bit more exposure. But it's what he wants, and in the end, that's what it is. And we only wish him but the best. He did have some words, and I would like your opinion on that, John, too. He said pretty much here, I know I would not have this opportunity without the support of my teammates, my coaches, and the front office at Orlando City. In just 12 months ago, I was leaving college soccer, hoping to make my way, and I believe I have made the most of the opportunities that were presented to me at this time. Thank you again to my family, my teammates, and all the Orlando City fans and staff. My goal is to go to England and show everyone what I'm capable of. And I know for a fact, without a shadow of a freaking doubt, that Duncan's going to kill it in England. So I'm just so happy for him. John.
So I love Duncan. I'm not 100% convinced that he's going to kill it in the championship. I think, I have my reservations about his physicality, and I watched that league a lot, obviously being a Stoke fan, and I just is a very physical league, and even more so than MLS. So I'm hoping that Duncan can really make that jump up. I don't think not saying he can't. I just have, I think it's a bigger leap in some ways than it was from college to MLS. So maybe, sometimes we go back to go forward. So maybe he goes there and it doesn't work out, but he gets enough play time and enough exposure that maybe Blackburn don't want to sign him, but then another English club goes, actually, we
Correct.
really like to sign you. So it puts him in the shop window either way. And I think, there is a good chance that he could go there and kill it, right? But there's also a chance that he doesn't,
right.
He's not able to be as impactful. Like, we obviously build him up and we love Duncan. And he had an incredible first half of the season, but we do remember that there was the end of the season where he wasn't firing like he was at the beginning. So I think overall it's going to be interesting to see, if he can make that next big jump. And it's such a great story. Like, from college to us, to England, it's so happening so fast for him. It's like a meteoric rise, and you just hope he can keep rising for sure. It just remains to be seen. I think more than anything, Luis, maybe the championship is difficult, but also the team that he's going to. Like, he was playing with a team here that really we were in a good place while Duncan's been with us. He's going to a club that's not in a good place, and of the two, he's gone to the one that's in the better situation. I agree. I think Sheffield Wednesday probably looking more likely to go down. Both clubs have, like you said, problems with owners. Neither of them, I think, was a great club for Duncan to go to. So let's see what he can do at Blackburn. I'm going to be watching closely that they play Stoke in a couple games time. So there might be a chance where Duncan's scoring against me in England. So I won't like to see that. But I wish him all the best. And yeah, I think some people are perhaps upset that he didn't want to stay, and I get that. Like, it hurts as a fan,
Sure.
when a player just very much wants to leave. Like, I thought maybe there was a chance when it fell through on the plane that Duncan would just be like, hey, actually, life isn't that bad at Orlando City, and this is, not good, and I need to cut my losses. But overall, I think with Duncan, it is a shame that he wanted to go, and he wanted to go that badly that we had to go and make a deal. We got a good deal, I think, overall. Like, we're getting the money we need now to be able to reinvest in the squad, but also there's, that massive transfer fee potentially in the future if it goes well. So the deal I was kind of hoping for will be there in the future. if it all goes well for Duncan, and if Blackburn want to go ahead and sign him, or like I said, if not, someone else might come in and sign him. Either way, he's got his wish. He's in England. He's in the shop window in England. It just remains to be seen whether he can really pull it off. Do you think Duncan's going to hit the ground running, or do you think he's going to sort of take a little time there to settle into the way things work in Blackburn?
No, of course, I think he's going to have time to settle. And I ask the fans for Blackburn not to just burn him. He's going to take a little time. I mean, MLS is a different level than Championship. Realistically speaking, I know that we cover the MLS and we cover Orlando City, but we also know our limitations when it comes to play the play of the sport. So it's going to be a transition for sure. I have no doubt that he's going to be the hardest working person there. I mean, that's just his mantra. That's the way he is. He's a very good, he positions well in set pieces. He's very, sometimes very eager to help off the counter. Runs like a winger sometimes. So, and he has a really good finishing touch at times too. So he's a player that's still developing, but has a high ceiling, a very high ceiling. So let's see.
I think with Duncan, he's got that personality where he's so hungry that you hope wherever he goes, even if it's a struggle, he'll get over that struggle and he'll be able to improve, and he'll be able to find a way to get himself in the positions needed to score goals. I think if anything, he's sort of, I would describe him as like a modern pressing forward, in the sense that he's quite happy to press on, onto center backs, happy to chase down the goalkeeper, he will work hard for 60, 70 minutes. He'll give you everything he's got, and when you give him chances in front of the net, like, he will take them. So I wanted to go through the comments here, Luis, because we have quite a few already, and some of them really pertain to Duncan. So we can go ahead and hit those, starting right from the top with Joshua Tall. So let's talk about Brekalo. Yes, we're going to come on to Brekalo next. Patience. Luis Muriel, please, says Victor Sanchez. Agreed. Luis Muriel is going to come up soon. Popka Mango. Hey, guys, hard for me to understand why he was so desperate to leave. One more year would have increased his value. Yeah. Luis, you take this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to quote this gentleman that messaged me, send me a comment on my Twitter. He wrote, and I think this will answer his question. For a kid who's 23, chasing the dream of playing in Europe, capitalizing of the season he just had, might have been his only realistic chance at a move abroad. Blackburn is an established side, more so than Sheffield Wednesday. So, that's probably why, maybe he thought, take that crazy chance, do that crazy dance. You know what I mean? This is my chance. I already scored like more than 10 goals here. Let's see what I can do over there in the Championship and how I pair up. And I think with the loan, we can bring him back too. If he wants to decide that, hey, I think I'd rather stay in Orlando. Maybe I'll sign for one season. Let's see. Maybe he does that. In the end, he's taking that gamble, and it's in the end, he's a player, and I think the team Orlando has respected his wishes, and I think that's great.
Victor Sanchez, Laren, DK, Mueller, Mcguire. Who's next? We love to develop a forward and send them on to Europe. That's what we do best here at Orlando City. What do you think Orlando City should do about their striker situation? Says Joshua Tall. We're going to come on to that later, Josh, when we talk about Luis Muriel and other nines. Jim D, it's pure anarchy. I'll never wish for OC Rivers again. Yeah, it's been an emotional roller coaster the past 24 to 40 hours. You can, any Blackburn fans who are watching, you could thank you guys for that, because you keep us on the edge of our seat with this Duncan transfer. So glad to see it finally go through. Joshua Tall, I hope Orlando City will get a number 10 and a striker. And then Pepe Morty, Rovers fan here. Is he any good?
Hey, subscriber, Pepe.
Hopefully we answered your question there, Pepe. He was really good for the beginning half of the season. The second half of the season, the goals dried up a little bit, but his numbers were incredible at the beginning.
Yeah.
And for a guy who was a rookie for us coming straight out of college, he lit the world on a light, and he knocked off one of our key signings, as it were, like a big player in the squad who was our other striker, basically got pushed out of the role of Trinkara by Duncan Mcguire because he was scoring so much. He just really also, the fans took him to our hearts. We just really loved Duncan. So he was a great guy, and he's a good kid. So hopefully he does really well for you, and we're excited to see what happens. Pepe Mordias, how many goals do you reckon that he can score in the championship?
Oof.
Oh, that's a
I'll
hard
give a
one to
number. You
say.
give a number.
I mean, like for the rest of the season for you guys, I think with the right team around him, if you fed him the ball enough, 10, 15 goals maybe.
I was gonna say,
if you give him the right kind of service, that's the thing. He's not going to create goals all the time on his own. He's not that kind of player. He's a poacher, pressing forward, kind of attacking forward that will get in behind or press guys down for you. He's not going to be a creative playmaker up front. So,
and not only that, he's used to doing short passes in the box in transition. So he's the type of player that he's used to playing with South Americans. So you have to understand, South Americans, they love to play the ball short on the box. He's used to that. He's been doing that in preseason in Cancun. And not only that, he's fit to play right now. So
yeah,
I know
he is ready to go.
He's ready to go. And
he barely had time off with the offseason and
Yep.
being U.S. national team. So
I believe the same as John. I think between 10 to 12 goals, realistically speaking, if he's able to be fed, I think and he may exceed that. And if he does, then not only the Rovers win, not only Orlando City wins, but also UN's national team wins on the verge of a Copa America. This is the striker. You have Brandon Vasquez, you have all these strikers. I don't think George Sargent is panning out the way we wanted to in the U.S. men's national team. Here he comes, Duncan Mcguire, 13, 14 goals in championship. Why not? I think
that's the way to compare him, is to look at DK, look at Josh Sargent, look at these other, and see, is he going to be better than them? Is he going to be able to, do enough? It took Josh Sargent a while to get good in the championship. So that might be the case with Duncan too. We don't know how quickly he's going to hit the ground running. Kyle Britt, could we possibly get him back in the summer? What are your thoughts on that? We talked about that earlier a bit, Kyle. I think if he doesn't do well with Blackburn, they might, they might go ahead and take us up on that large transfer fee that's been rumored. So it might be the case that he's back in the summer. We'll see. Citrus FC, if he starts, he'll get you some goals. He's scrappy. Yes, we talked about that. Thank you. Citrus, Pepe talking more about Blackburn and his team and their striker Gallagher, who's a donkey, apparently. Jeffrey O, step 1, let Duncan go. Step 2, get Gabby goal. I really heard much on Gabby goal, but that would be cool. There were, like we talked about last episode, there was lots of talk about it with the Brazilians, but I haven't seen any actual rumors out there on that one. Pepe Morty, Rovers are the best at edging people, to be honest. I mean, you're not wrong. You really screwed us over. Yeah, we didn't know what was going on. Poor kid was on the plane, and you guys are pulling out the deal. So glad that it all worked out at the end. But we were kind of going mad there for a second. Not to say also that you tried to snake our center back from us, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Anthony Solis, imagine having domestic talent staying at Orlando after a year. Sad face. Yeah. Well, sometimes, like we said, players, it's their chance and they want to take their chance in Europe, and we let them do that. You don't want to have unhappy players at the club, in my opinion. I think Oscar and Luis Muzi agree. There goes the only starting American. Yeah. That's also true, Anthony Solis. Yeah. It's something I have a real problem with our squad. I love our team, but I would like a few more Americans in there, right? Or yeah, we got Kyle Smith, we got Mikey Halliday. Help me out, Luis. We got a Felipe. He's technically American. We got a lot of people who have become Americans or at least green card holders. So that's good. We're good on that from a roster point of view. But we don't have a lot of definitely first team Americans. Jack Lynn, great American striker. This is his chance.
Hopefully he gets some minutes this year.
Let's see. I hope so. Hey, Duncan's left, and the door is wide open right now. But maybe it'll be closing again if a number 9 comes in, like we talk about. All right, that's all the comments for now. We're going to move on to our next topic, the big one, also for the day. So first of all, it was confirmed by David Massey. And David Massey confirmed that David Brekalo to Orlando City deal done. Everything done and sealed between Orlando and Viking Football Club. Brekalo will play in MLS. That was then later confirmed by Tom Bogert, who tweeted it out as well, confirming that David Massey is correct. This one also had some drama, Luis. This one has had drama from the start. We talked about it on the last pod. David obviously wanted to leave Viking. They weren't letting him go. We were giving offers. They were not really taking any of our offers. From what it was reported from Tom Bogert, it's about the same as what we were offering. What was that, like a week or so ago? Yep. So I don't think we've really budged. I think what happened was David Brekalo eventually just got his way. I mean, the guy, like we talked about before, he put out a video. He basically pleaded, that he wanted to go to leave. He talked about previous times when he wanted to leave and didn't go. And now this time it seems like we got a report yesterday that we were able to talk to him finally and his agent, and that Viking FK were actually going to allow him to leave. Then today we see this report from David Massey and Tom Barker that is finalized and a done deal. Now, having said that, it's not been announced by the club, unlike the Duncan rumor, Duncan transfer, which was announced by Blackburn and has been announced by the club, is 100% done and finalized. This deal has been reported done and finalized by some, sources that we trust, but again, hasn't actually been officially announced. So, Luis, your opinion on David Brekalo and the whole transfer saga, and just, are you as happy as I am that we finally got our man?
For sure. A player that it's very well regarded in Norway, in that actual positions in center back. Also playing in a team that, has won 8 times the Eliteserien, making an impact, having song after song with his name on it. That shows you how important he was. And the team wasn't going to let it go or because he was that big piece of the puzzle for them. And eventually, he wanted out because he felt like he's accomplished everything he wanted there. And he wanted a bigger, kind of like, a bigger fish to fry, right? And he felt like, MLS was it. They were asking for money, and the money was right. He turned down also, a couple of offers before he stayed for the latter part of the Norwegian Championship for Vikings. So he made all those concerns heard, but you have to understand, in the end, money talks. Orlando went all in for him, and when the window opened up, and it was ready to close, Viking decided, okay, we're going to grant them. It just kind of make more sense. You're not going to hold a player hostage. You know what I mean? At some point, the club has to say, okay, he doesn't want to be here, and, if he doesn't want to be here, we're ready to part ways with him, and we'll figure out what we can do. At least we're going to get 3.35 million kroner he's getting, Viking is getting, which is $3.3 million US. I'm sure they can get, another.
Tom reported 2.5 million.
2.5. Okay. So, well, that was what
it was. Sometimes it's lost in translation between the
so, it might have been. Amounts. That's what they reported when we first released that. So maybe it's changed eventually. But still,
I think at one point I thought we were up to 2.2. It was 2.3, so maybe we've gone up from 2.3 to 2.5. Not much.
It's not really that bad, but okay. Well, 2.5. Here we go. The good thing is that Orlando is making moves. Look, we're signing 25-year-olds. We're signing players that are making an impact in those leagues. We're not signing, and I'm going to say this is controversial. After me seeing the 6-0 defeat by Inter Miami, I'm so glad we're signing this way and not that way. If I know a lot of fans and a lot of people maybe expect Lukaku, Griezmann, quality level players. I don't think the league is ready for that yet.
We're not a huge market either. So if
Right,
those players come,
right,
it's hard for
right.
us to be. We're not like honestly, we're
Correct.
not New York, we're not LA, we're not
Right.
Miami in terms of those players when they come, they have choices in the league in MLS. It's not like other leagues. So, if they do want to come, we lose out on that front.
Yeah, he's gonna be a good pair up with Robin Jansen, and also you have to understand. Look, Dagerdan, Iceland, Slovenia, and Sweden. You know what I mean?
It's the Nordic back
the
line. I
Nordic
mean, never
wall,
Brekalo is Slovenia, but
right?
he played in
In
Norway, so
Norway,
that counts, right?
right?
Everyone's already
So
talking about Santos dyeing his hair blonde so that we can have a blonde back line.
and I was talking to some South American friends from my other pod, and they were telling me, look, you guys actually are boosting your defense with this signing. A lot of MLS teams, as you could see with the 6-0 win by Al Nassr, they don't care about defense there. Because the spectacle is to score goals. And I think you guys, being a little bit more careful, signing players that are actually going to boost your starting positions in defense, that's what's going to make your offense even more powerful. So, I mean, that was a great comment by one of my colleagues. So I just think that I'm excited for this signing. I think the fans are going to love him, and I just can't wait till he wears purple.
I think David looks like the center back I've always wanted us to sign. Like young enough, like intelligent, not like super young, because you want your center backs to be mature, but not like, aged. He's fast, he's big, he can head the ball, he's a threat on set pieces, he's good with his feet, he can pass it. Like he's just the ultimate sort of all-round center back, modern day center back, ball playing defender. And Luis, I sent you a link. This is the video.
Yep.
Here, everybody can see. So there's an account if you want to go follow called David Brekalo fans. He's a super fan of David Brekalo, and he just everything is David
He's
Brekalo.
amazing.
So he put out today this awesome reel, basically, of David Brekalo's highlights of scoring goals. This is why I say, I mean, look at this guy from set pieces. I don't think we've had someone this dangerous on set pieces. Especially not a center back. Jansen is a threat, but he doesn't convert that many. I feel like David Brekalo, Luis, and I hope you agrees, looks like a guy who could get us 5 or 6 goals just being a center back.
Set pieces. His positioning is on point, as you can tell. His position, the way he positions himself, to dive, it's just tremendous. And that's just having good vision right there, especially on the box. And the team is practicing set pieces. Have you noticed that? Have you seen the reels by the club?
Yeah.
How Rodri
we got some good set piece takers in too now. Like Lodero can take a great set piece. Ojeda can take a killer set piece, in my opinion.
Do you see that header Rodri did from the penalty spot? Like they're practicing this. Cartagena, Rodri, Robin.
It's good because last year we were not a threat enough on set pieces.
So I just think that this is just going to boost what we're doing in preseason, and he's going to probably come, and it's going to take a little time, but I think he's going to be an ace up our sleeve. To be honest with you, I think with Robin, I think Robin's going to welcome him, show him, I think he's going to just feel so welcome, just like he did with Viking and the Viking fans. So hopefully that's what we're going to get from him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall it just looks like a great signing. It shows that we really are investing in that defense. Like it's quite a bit of money for us to spend. Like I have to look back and see at our defenders, but I don't think we've ever spent more than a million on a defender, right? Like what did we spend on Antonio Carlos? Maybe $1 million.
Yeah,
Something like that. that was like probably the most expensive defender we've ever bought. So I think definitely seems like a great investment. Definitely seems like Oscar's kind of guy. Oscar loves the center back, and this guy looks like the ultimate center back. So really excited for David to get here, watching like a hawk to see when it's announced. I'm assuming it just wasn't announced today because it was quite late in the day for Europe, and they will want to announce it as well, Viking at the same time as the club. So most likely, Luis, and you probably agree with this, tomorrow morning, right? You think?
Yeah, I think tomorrow.
We'll
I think
see the
tomorrow morning
announcement of
they're gonna
David.
make it official. Yeah, I think tomorrow morning they're gonna work on making it official. And I think the club has been very diligent and also kind of making sure that they're not releasing stuff that it may fall through. In the end, things fall through when they're not said and done. So they want to just triple check that this is gonna happen before you have a whole LOL moment, right? And then everybody's gonna go online and just leave comments like, "Why are you doing this to us?" Right? So they just want to make sure that everything's good to go. So
Well, Blackburn tried to steal this one away with
I
the
know
with the
because
loan offer, but
they're
no.
probably following all the accounts from
Yeah,
Orlando,
the
which is
Viking.
great.
Shout out to the Blackburn fans. You guys are good people. So back to the comments for a minute, Luis. We got a few
Sure.
more that pertain to David. Anthony Solis, is David a DP? No, is the plain answer. I expect we're gonna have him, on a decent amount of money, but I don't think he'll be a DP. Citrus FC, does this mean Schlegel will be moved to the bench for depth?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Which is
100%.
great because he's game ready.
Yes.
So worst case scenario, we're gonna end up like either Robin goes down, David goes down, and Roddy steps up, and he's game ready. So
I think we played Schlegel a little bit too much last year
yeah.
for a lot of people's liking.
Antonio didn't help the
Great,
situation either.
Like we talked about before, one of the best backup center backs in the league, but not necessarily a starting center back, Schlegel. Kyle Britt, with the team also looking at center back from Colo Colo, do you think Schlegel is on the market? Question mark. We'll talk about a little. You're talking about Alan Saldivia. We will talk a little bit more about him in a minute. But to answer your question on Schlegel, no, I do not think that Schlegel's on the market. I think Schlegel is Oscar's boy, and he's not going anywhere anytime soon. South American offense and European defense, says Anthony. Yeah, that's a nice combo, really. And MLS,
a very nice combo.
Unless you want to spend a lot of money on American players, which there aren't a lot of really good ones, it's the easy way. Like look at there's a lot of cheap European talent. Like look at St. Louis. They've got a lot of that going on, and then other teams have gone South American. We've kind of got a combo of both, so it's a nice. Victor Sanchez, John Rowland said. That's me. Please trust the front office. I did say that. I did. I think sometimes everybody sorts the panic. I panic too a little bit, but we just got to have a little patience and a little faith, and things will work out. Pepe Morty, you're welcome. Smiley face. Anthony Solis, I think an experienced striker would do well as a signing, maybe to mentor Jack Lynn, or as a striker who could also win in set pieces. Yeah, we definitely need a 9 for sure. Duncan is gone. And in a minute, we're going to talk about Luis Muriel, who could be that 9. Pepe Morty, also the reason I think Duncan talks fell through was because Crystal Palace was taking the piss with playing without paying us and announcing the signing of Adam Wharton. Yes. So if people don't know, Blackburn were waiting for a $22 million sale of Adam Wharton, who was a player that they were selling up to Crystal Palace. Once that went through, then Blackburn then had the money. So that's why initially they backed out, because they got backed out on by Crystal Palace. It's kind of like buying a house, Luis. If somebody, if the people in front of you aren't ready, you can't go. So it's not 100% Blackburn's fault, but it was a little bit crazy. He also says he's the Wilshire Pirlo. I didn't know that. I'm actually from Wilshire. Small fact. So anybody, Jackton79. So any idea who the third DP will be? First of all, there's questions around what kind of DP it will be, because I advise everybody to go and watch Tom Bogert's YouTube video he made today, where he's talking about our moves that we've been making and the potential of bringing in a 9, and that 9 could be a DP number 9, a full DP number 9. The reason being because we've got Gaston out on loan, so that's one of our U22 initiative slots that's freed up. And with the money that we got from the Duncan trade, loan, we can take that and convert it into Garber bucks, or general allocation money, and then potentially use that to buy down either the U22 initiative of Cesar or Enrique. And then that would mean that we would be able to have 3 full DPs and just 1 U22 initiative signing. That looks like what we're doing. If that is what we're doing, that's an incredible move. Luis, do you feel like that's what we're going for, or do you think we're still just going to keep our current situation and have a regular restricted or young DP number 9 for them?
No, I think that's probably what we're going to do. And I think that's what we need also. I think that, like the people here in the chat said also, which they're great comments, by the way, we need an experienced goal scorer. Somebody that can mentor the youth that we have there, that takes the bull by the horns, as they said. He's that voice in the attacking third. We used to have that with Nani. Nani would, out of a hat, just create some plays that maybe weren't in Oscar's playbook, but those will win us games. Now, I'm not asking for a Nani, but I am asking for a proven striker that maybe is able to mentor Jack Lynn, and maybe we can see Jack Lynn scoring some goals in Leagues Cup, maybe in some games that this DP maybe in international duty or playing at Copa America. So I agree. I mean, if you ask me, who would I like? Romelu Lukaku. I would love Antoine Griezmann. If you ask me, maybe we can also sign. If we really want to go at it and you want to be froggy about it, we can sign this guy right here, right? We can sign this guy right here, right? And just totally just throw away our cash, right? And just be like completely belligerent, right?
We don't want Ronaldo.
Right, but we got to be careful how we do it, right, John?
Agreed. I think that I would like somebody who was a bit more of a name, but also I think the way that Oscar and Luis build their team, it seems to be a lot more around like the youth of the stars, right? We seem to be invested in that. So if we are going to bring a veteran number 9, I expect it to be a little bit more of the sort of like we've seen Luis Muriel level than like a top name guy who they're going to, have as the main marquee signing. I think it's going to be more of and also I think that's realistic for us. Like we said before, it's not always easy to convince these massive players to come and play in our market, right? So I think someone of the Luis Muriel level is the kind of guy that we would get. And that level of sort of ex-European, has had times where he was, a very good goal scorer, proven goal scorer, but maybe needs to revive his career. And what you were saying, Luis, before. So let's go on and move on to that information. So it was reported by us as well as several other outlets. Luis reported it this morning. Luis, you want to walk us through everything to do with Luis Muriel? There's too many Luises. We got Luis GM. You're Luis. This is Luis. There's too many. We need Muriel, Pineda, Muzi. We got to use last names.
So according to Mateo Moreto from Relevo Deportes, he lives in Italy. He's actually Argentinian, I believe. Actually, no, he's Italian. And he reported that Luis Muriel was set to leave Atalanta. And according to a source, it was an MLS club that was kind of inquiring and very close on landing him. And then it was revealed that there were very advanced negotiations with Orlando City. So the player's contract set to expire in June, and apparently it's facilitated the negotiation. And he reported that we were making a huge push for the Colombian. So he said, this could materialize in the upcoming hours. So based on where he works, it's a very trustful source. I did check with a Colombian source also, which is part of my other pod, and he mentioned that in Colombia that we're reporting it that Orlando was on the hunt for Muriel as well. So, look, we've seen with Oscar and his staff, and a lot of people say, he's a has-been, he's no longer that player he used to be in Atalanta. I mean, I understand he's 32, and but he's been a proven goal scorer in Italy for Atalanta. He's been in the radar for Inter Milan currently. He's been in the radar for Inter Milan to go there. 143 appearances, 54 goals. He's playing in La Liga. He's playing Udinese. He's played in top level in Colombia. He's scored in Copa America. He's played with his national team. This is a player that it fits what we are actually building here. It's a low risk, high reward player, somebody that Oscar and his staff can take and make him an important piece of the puzzle, and he has the quality to back that up because everyone have seen it in Italy, and maybe that's why they're making a strong push. We've seen that happen with Nani, we've seen that happen with Rodri when Rodri first came. We've seen that happening with Pato. We've seen it happen with Dagger Dan. Nobody knew where to put him. Oscar ended up finding him a right back position. We've seen it with Ivan Angulo having 0 minutes in Palmeiras in Brazil, being one of the most important players in our attacking third. So I have no doubt that if this becomes true in the upcoming hours, I think that this is a great signing. Not only that, we're looking to find more butts in seats to watch Orlando City. Maybe this is going to drive the Colombian fan base from Central Florida. There's a huge Colombian fan base in Central Florida. So, it's a win-win situation. It's a South American in the attacking third. He's not defensive. He's not part of the defense. So, obviously he speaks Italian and English and Spanish. So he's going to mesh well with the team that we currently have. And not only that, in short spaces, he's that type of player that, like we see that Flamengo goal that Orlando scored with Angulo, he can play very well in those short spaces and score. Most of his goals have been like that, So I think it's a no-brainer. He's also a set-piece taker. He scores, from free kicks and things like that. So I think it's a win-win in my opinion. If this is obviously what's going to happen in the next few hours. So would I like somebody else? I don't know. What are your thoughts there, John? Would you like someone else?
The fact that he's Colombian is a big factor for me. I think that obviously Oscar being Colombian and having spent time in that league and knowing, he knows obviously this guy very well, what he can do. I think it seems to me like the kind of guy that we talked about, like Oscar could get him firing again. Like he could bring him in and then, get the most out of him. Often, people talk about the fact that strikers don't do so well in Oscar systems. That is true. So maybe we don't need Luis Muriel to come in and be the guy who scores all the goals. We just need him to do a certain role for us up front. And maybe they think that he's the guy to come in and do that. Overall, I mean, he scored 151 goals in his career. He does know where the back of the net is, and 73 assists across his career. More recently, like you said, in Serie A, it hasn't been going too well for him. 17 appearances so far and just 2 goals in this season. So I think it's somebody that the time is right for him to come, take a step down in leagues, as it were, from Serie A to MLS, and you hope that he would be able to still perform for us. I think it's the kind of guy, like I said, that we would be going after. So For me, I think if it's not Luis Muriel, it's going to be a very similar Luis Muriel type signing.
Yeah.
So I think the thing is, if we're expecting, like you said, somebody that's, maybe younger or more impressive or scores more goals, or
Like Gabigol, for example.
yeah, like Gabigol could be, would be a better signing,
But that
probably.
will cost us more
Maybe
dollars.
we're going to go for someone like that, but I think more likely it's going to be this kind of 9 that we're going to bring in. So I'm hopeful. I think, like you said, trust in this team and what they've done before with players. Like, look what they did with Pato. When we signed Pato, I was like, well, thank God it's on a,
Right.
cheap deal, because they're not going to get anything out of this guy. He's going to be injured all the time. They didn't get that much out of Pato, but they got a lot more than I was expecting. So if they can do that with a guy like Pato, if they can, extend Kaká's career, if they can extend Nani's
That's
career,
right.
then I agree with you, Luis. They can definitely do it with Luis Muriel.
Now,
I don't see
one
any reason
thing,
why not.
yeah, I mean, one thing that I would say, and I'll be completely honest with you guys, a little concern is, look, Ramiro Enriquez's height is 5'7". Then Duncan's height was 6'1". Luis Muriel's height is 5'11", and Jack Lynn's height is 6'1". So, I mean, I know there's like inches difference, but I mean, we're not looking at a pivot 9. It's just FYI. He's a 9. Can play in short spaces.
He's a false 9.
He's a false 9. Exactly. But he's not a pivot 9. If you're looking for a pivot 9, I mean, like we said, there were rumors in Ecuador brewing that Campana wanted to leave Inter Miami. He would have been the perfect fit. He's a big, powerful number 9, young, but definitely going to cost us more money. It was a full DP, with the age and stuff. So, but those are one thing. A couple things I do want to mention is the height, right? He's not a pivot 9. Now, Jackton79 saying Bobby Firmino. What do you think about that, John? Bobby Firmino.
I think just like we said with Luis Muriel, Bobby Firmino, I think probably a little bit better than Luis Muriel, like a bit
For
higher
sure.
caliber, but a similar kind of signing, right? Would be a similar kind of guy, a false 9, a similar age. He's one that has been reported that he's not happy in Saudi Arabia, so he would have to take a massive pay cut to come join us. But I would definitely take a Bobby Firmino. I think, like we said, the striker in Oscar's system is there to be that false 9 we've seen before. Like that's kind of why Ertring Carr wasn't the right player for us.
Right.
That model of player doesn't work in Oscar's system. This model of player does, and therefore that's why I think it would be someone that would work for us. He might not score 20 goals, but he would work for our system and what we're trying to do. And I think to Oscar and Luis, that's more important than whether he can score.
Look at this
20
play
goals.
right here. This play right here, it's pretty much very.
Want to get some money for him. Hence why we were trying to buy him now, or else we'll just wait 6 months and get him in the summer on a free, but obviously someone else can come and do that as well. We could sign a pre-agreed contract now. We can give him a contract, and say, okay, you're going to sign this, and that means you're going to become our player in the summer. There's multiple options. The main thing being that we're not going to pay a crazy amount for Luis Muriel now, because he's going to be a free player in the summer.
Correct.
They're not going to re-sign him. So for me, we have to get the right deal done. We're negotiating. Tom Bogut reporting that we're kind of far off at the moment. So maybe we won't be able to find the right number on this guy, and we'll have to give up our hopes of bringing him in right now. But again, we might see him come in the summer because he'll be a free agent.
Let's see, Victor Sanchez. Just a question. What about James Rodriguez? I would love James Rodriguez. Would be a player that, I mean, he would be in all the posters. He will kind of, in a way, him and Duncan, and then maybe Luis Muriel. I mean, I think he'll be, now you pair him up with Cesar Araujo, with Wilder, with now you see, okay. Yeah, and I do believe that James, even though people are saying that he's a has-been and he's like lost his flair, I agree, but this is the MLS, and we have a top 3 level coach in the league, a coach and a staff that has revitalized those type of players' careers in the past. And I have full faith that they'll be able to bring him back, especially if he's Colombian. So, plus you have Nico Lodeiro as your, backup 10, like that's like fantastic. We've never had that. So imagine if that happens. I mean, I'd be amazing.
I agree. I think it's good to have maybe 1 or 2 risky sort of older players like that on your roster. If you're Miami, you've got 5 of them.
Yeah, and that's not good.
That's fine. But I'm happy with 1 or 2. But if they all go, if you invest a lot in that age player and it doesn't work out, you've got nothing, nothing for the future. We're gonna run through some rumors really quick before we kind of call it a day and wrap up. First of all, Alan Saldivia, as was hinted out before, nothing new on that. We haven't heard anything new from what we reported on Monday. There's rumors of him coming to an MLS club, being interested in MLS, buying an MLS club. Cadiz and Millionaire also in for him. Nothing has developed on that one. There was also a rumor today that Facu had an offer from a La Liga club.
No,
I don't think there was anything to that. Nothing came of it. Obviously, their window is closed, so he can't sign for a La Liga club now. Anyway, that one may or may not have been real. I'm skeptical on whether it's real or not, Luis. And then finally, John Arias, which is a new one, has been reported on Twitter. Orlando City Fan TV put it out. I also saw it reported by MLS Turkish exclusive. Orlando City made an official offer to the Brazilian club for Colombian winger John Arias, who plays for Fluminense. We haven't seen anything on this, Luis. Have you, from South America?
I honestly haven't. And the source is kind of, I don't know if I would. It's just my take. I don't know if it was a reliable source, but think about it. How many wingers do we have?
Yeah, I don't expect us to go in for a winger.
I just feel like, I mean, I know he's John Arias. Don't get me wrong. He's a great winger, but I mean, we got Angulo, we got Ramiro, we have.
Can he play as a striker? Maybe. I doubt it.
I've never seen him play as a striker, my friend. I'm only the wing. No, I mean,
I also think it's strange that this was not reported by a Brazilian outlet or a South American outlet. You've heard
typically
nothing
we would
on
get
it.
those
Like,
right away.
Yeah, it just seems. I don't think that one's true. Maybe it is. Maybe we'll hear more about it tomorrow. But I think it could be. It could be
a little flop there, but it's okay. It's part of the game.
Sometimes you get these ones that are just red herrings, that are not true at all. So we'll see whether more becomes of John Arias. But right now, we're a little skeptical. All right, final comments for the day, Luis. Joshua Toll. I saw someone on Twitter say their Orlando City offer for Luis Muriel got rejected. Is that true? I hope we get him, though. I did see it was reported that they rejected our initial offer, but we went back in with another one. Like I said, Tom Boga reported that we were kind of far away on what I think they're maybe expecting more money than we're willing to offer, right, Luis? Like, we're not going to spend that much money, like I said, on a guy who's going to be free in 6 months.
Yeah, no, I don't think the front office will be gullible enough to do that with all that cash that they're making out of Duncan and things like that. I mean, they're known to know how to spend it wisely, so I have full faith on that. So if Muriel is not, if they want to reject that offer and let's say we counter, and then they want to reject us twice, then we're probably going to wait till we can deal with the player on a one-on-one basis once he's a free agent.
Or actually, what Tom Bogert reported is that we've got other 9s that we're looking at. So maybe we'll just move on. Like, we need a 9 now. We're not going to sign Luis Muriel and nobody else until the summer. That's not going to happen. Right. So if he's not coming now, we'll move on to another. We've got a list. I haven't seen the list. You haven't seen the list. No one's seen this list, but we know there's a list because we trust these guys. Joshua Ortol. Okay, I was just wondering. Victor, yeah, no worries, buddy. Victor Sanchez, John Arias, with a thumbs up. So maybe Victor, like we said. Don't get your hopes up too much because we're not sure about that one. Anthony Solis, since Galese's contract ends this year, what are the chances you think he would leave? Pedro. Sorry, Luis, you take this one about Pedro.
Look, there are no reports of there's zero interest in any in Europe for Pedro Galese. There were some rumors about Getafe, which it was from Peru itself, from a fake outlet over there that made that rumor up. And then then now they're saying that there's an Argentinian club. He's not going to switch dollars for pesos, so that ain't happening. I don't know how historic the club may be. Economics are simple, and I feel like I know he wants maybe glory and all that stuff, and that's great, but in this stage of his career, he ain't gonna leave to a team that he's just gonna be another number. I mean, he wants to feel special. He's special here. He's a captain of the team also. So I feel like this is where he wants to be. But we have not seen any like Premier League club or obviously if you have somebody like Wolverhampton or maybe like even I don't know Brighton, Hove Albion. You know what I mean? Of course, Pedro is going to think about it at that point, right? Because this is like huge exposure for him, new heights and things like that. But why would he go to a team in Argentina with all this chaotic turmoil politically and risking his family that already are established here and his green card and all of that to go and have an adventure there at this latter stage of his career? I don't think it's smart, but
I think as long as Pedro keeps up his great performances and Oscar's still here, then he's just gonna continue to be our keeper.
Correct. I believe that.
Yeah, until he can't perform like he is right now. But I think he's got another good 2 or 3 years left in him.
Yeah,
so
same here.
Let's see. Thank you to everybody who joined us tonight. Thank you for all of your comments. If you are not subscribed to us, please go ahead and do that. We are currently on 699 subscribers. So if any of you are watching live right now, you can get us over the 700 mark if you just go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
Yeah.
That was a shameless plug, but I think it was a good one, so I'll take it. If you're enjoying on social media, you can follow us on Twitter, or X as it is called now, as Loud and Proud Orlando. You can also follow us on Instagram. Luis is Loud and Proud Orlando. You can follow us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, Loud and Proud Orlando. We also have a Facebook group we run. It's not called Loud and Proud Orlando, but it has another name. It's the Orlando City SC MLS Informed Discussion Group. We loosely run that group, and people come in and talk. So feel free to join in. We'll let you in there. LPO, TikTok as well. Paula, who's not here today, but she has a Spanish podcast called Tiro de la Esquina. I can't say that, Luis. You should have done that one.
Yeah, Tiro de Esquina.
Thank you. On YouTube, so check that out if you want some Spanish Orlando City content. Follow Luis at Pineda_ORL on X. You can follow me at John Rollins OCSC on X. And I just want to thank everybody for joining us tonight, and excited for the future.
Very excited.
Obviously we'll be back on Monday, hopefully with even more news. And you guys watch that space, because it looks like tomorrow, hopefully that David Brekalo announcement will be coming out. So final comments before we go, because we've got a few more, so why not? We'll read them. Anthony Solis, the same question for Robin Jansen. You want to answer that one quickly before we go, Luis?
I mean, depends on his performance this season. I guess with Robin, he's also happy here. We'll see. I mean, he's been our best center back the past few seasons. So if he continues to perform in that level, I think he could stay as well. So
we'll
Victor.
see.
Yeah, Victor Sanchez, it says David Ospina, goalkeeper for Orlando. I know he's old, but what a great goalkeeper. Yeah, he's a great goalkeeper for sure.
That's true. Goalkeepers don't, they don't fall off as quickly.
Yeah.
All right, our final free comments. Jackson79, great job, guys. Thank you. We appreciate it. Anthony Salus, great. Keep up the good work. We appreciate you guys. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Victor Sanchez, you got the final word today, buddy. So thank you, guys, and vamos Orlando.
Vamos Orlando, guys. Have a good one.